Are you sick of whiffing your shots and losing your aim duels? Do you want to start hitting clips like these?
Gun advantage, health advantage, and of course the mind game's being played and the shots come through for us, boss.
In this video, I'll show you the exact aim routine that helped me climb back into Immortal after I took a long break from Valorant. No gimmicks, no bullshit, just what actually works to improve your raw mechanics. Let's go. So the first thing you're going to want to do is come down to the Windows search bar here, type in mouse, click on mouse settings here, go to additional mouse settings, go to pointer options and uncheck enhance pointer precision. It's going to be on by default. I just want you to turn that off, press apply, and that's going to be it for Windows. Next is just going to be some in-game settings here, right? We're going to turn raw input buffer on. And the other thing then is going to be sensitivity, okay? I'm going to talk 800 DPI and I'll have all of the adjustments here that I'm talking about. So for 800, the lowest you're really going to want to go to is 0.2. The highest you're going to want to go to is at a max of 0.5. Anything above that is unnecessary. Anything below 0.2 is unnecessary. Everything else doesn't really matter for aim, so that's it. Alright, this guide we are making is going to be strictly in-game stuff. If you want a guide on Kovacs and aim labs, let me know. I will see what I can do, but this is going to be all in-game and this is going to be for practice and or warm-up. Do not use practice before your ranked games or you will troll because you're going to wear yourself out. It's supposed to be hard, okay? So don't practice before your games. Use the warm-up, and the warm-up's going to be less taxing than it is for practice. So your warm-up's going to be about 10-15 minutes, maybe 20 if you, depending on how many DMs you want to do after it all. So this is going to be your warm-up, and practice you're going to just do more of, okay? I'll give you numbers afterwards, but first we're just going to go over the warm-up, all right? So we're going to use the method I came up with. I've dubbed it the PRACT method, so that's P-R-A-C-T. That's how, well, I don't know, I just came up with that. It just makes sense. It's a nice thing to remember. So where do we start? Okay, we start over here with the practice bots, right? That's for the P. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to swap over to deadlock. And you're like, why do we swap over to deadlock? I like playing Jet, all right? We're going to swap to deadlock because we can actually bug these bots to make it much easier to actually practice with, right? Because having this many bots, you're just kind of shooting them, you know what I mean? There's too many targets. It's unrealistic. So we're going to use deadlock ult twice. We're going to ult 2 bots and we're going to click the practice button again. You'll see they'll fall through the map. And after a second or two here, they're going to respawn back in. Bang. One more. And now this is a little bit buggy, so if one of the bots is invincible or if one of the bots didn't even spawn in, don't worry about it, just redo it and it should work. So now we only have 2 bots. This is going to be a lot easier to actually work with because it won't overstimulate your brain. So now at this point we can just practice, you know, somewhat like this, just shooting between these 2 bots. I like to jump up on this as well and just stand still. It gives you that verticality that little bit. As you can see, it's not just straight left and right now. I have to go up and down a little bit, which is good, right? This is the kind of thing I like to start off my day with. I'll just stand here, maybe I'll start moving and going vertically, right? Something like this. If I'm doing warm-up, I'll do this for, you know, a couple, 2 or 3 minutes. If I'm doing practice, I'll do this maybe about 10, right? You could probably do all of these for about 10 minutes for actual practice. And that's going to be pretty much where I start here, right? That's going to be our P. Now, our OR, right? Our OR in PRACT is going to be mainly over here. I like this area. OR is going to be recoil control, okay? So what I like to do is I come over here and I like to just straight up spray at these guys, right? But all you're doing here is just practicing your recoil control, right? Spray transfers. Something like this, right? You just gotta flick around between all these guys and just try and get a feel for that recoil. Because recoil is still a pretty important part in this game, right? You're not going to be spraying at this range realistically, but you never know what's going to happen in the game, right? So if you have this down, I know it's random, but you can still practice it, right? It's not entirely random. You can kind of get it still a good feel for it. Look at players like Trent is a crazy one, right? Trent has some of the craziest spray transfers I've ever seen. I still think back to the clip of him on Fracture, where he just 180 spray transferred on Breach. That was the craziest spray transfer I've ever seen in this game. Well, the other thing I like doing for recoil control is coming over to this guy, and I set it at first to 10 meters, and I will fire around like this, and I will try and keep my spray inside of this area here. So I'll fire around what 25 bullets would be, because Vandal, if you're doing Phantom, it would be 30, and I'll fire, you know, a mag into here, then I'll fire a mag into here, on this guy, and then I will do the same at 20,
I will try and keep it in the outer circle as much as I can. As you can see, it can get quite annoying with the side-to-side recoil, but you just have to keep your eye on where the gun is and where the gun barrel's pointing. You can see the gun barrel's pointing left and right. So you keep that in your peripheral vision, and you try and turn it as much as you can and try and keep it into that area. You see, you can get pretty good at this if you do practice it. Now we go to A, and I've dubbed A any difficulty bots, right? You just go in here in this shooting range part, and you pick between easy, medium, or hard. It's up to you. You can start off with easy or medium, and then maybe your last couple of reps, you go for hard bots. Hard bots are actually pretty hard, and it's a lot of just flicking. So if you want to actually practice the movements, medium could be easier. As you can see, they don't disappear too fast. So you can practice that. Let me explain, right? So a lot of the time you're flicking, it's going to be flick, micro, right? So when you have these practice bots, you can flick, micro, right? Flick, micro, flick, micro. Didn't have to micro there. But you see what I mean, right? Flick, micro, flick, micro, flick, micro. And that's the kind of movement we're trying to warm up here. Right? You can do that with these practice bots, and you also have incorporating your movement in, right? So if the bot spawns over here, I'm going to flick past him and move to my left. If the bot spawns over here, I'm going to flick past him and move to my right. Okay? So we can practice those movements with these medium bots. That's why I like medium quite a lot. You could do a lot more with them, where hard bots, as you can see, hard bots, you don't really have time to do this, right? Because they're gone. So you kind of have to flick to them. You know what I mean? You can't incorporate your movement as much with hard bots. You just have to flick to them. Now, the flicks are going to be good with flick micro, right? The flick micro is definitely going to be good on these hard bots, but the trying to incorporate movement, you have to pretty much do this, right? It's more about counter strafes. As you can see, I can't hit them because I'm talking at the same time, but it's all good. For the most part, if you want to practice that movement, stick to the medium bots. It's going to be easier if you want that more difficulty. If you are struggling with medium, hop on easy. There's no problem here, right? We're just warming up. So it doesn't need to be the craziest thing in the world, okay? So that's going to be our A. That's going to be our any difficulty bots. Then we have our C, which is going to be our counter strafes, right? So for counter strafes, you can either do this again with the deadlock stuff and let these guys drop out. As you can see, we actually got the bug here where he's immune. So you have to redo it. It doesn't matter that much, as you can see, he don't die. Don't worry, you're not whiffing. And you can see, I just redid it there, now it's working. So for counter strafes, it's just a lot of this kind of stuff, right? You're practicing just slowing down your movement, to be honest, because either there's two kind of players, right? There's players who will over move, where you start like moving a little bit too much because you're trying to go too fast. And there's players who will just, you know, fully stop, right? If you're a player who's going too fast, slow down that little bit. If you're a player who likes to just slow down and just fully stop, speed it up a little bit, you know what I mean? Try and get that nice sweet spot where you're not moving too much, but you're not moving not enough, you know what I mean? As you can see, if we make sure we actually are stopped, this becomes a lot better. Right, and we're just gonna practice like this for a little bit, trying to warm up that movement. And that's going to be our counter strafes, right? And then we have our T, all right? And our T is going to be tracking. Tracking is so important. A lot of people neglect it in Valorant, and you can see that's probably why the pop and swing is so popular, right? Because you just swing out and the guy can't hit you because he can't track you. So I like to do is I like to turn on my bots. Well, I actually don't like to turn on my bots. I like to go to eliminate 100, okay? I jump in here and I will track this guy with jet knives, right? If jet knives are too fast for you, you could start off with a rifle, or even... What is slower? There's something slower than a rifle, right? There's an Odin slower than a rifle, but I wouldn't recommend the Odin too much. But I will just track this guy, right? And I'll change the directions randomly. I will change distances, right? Something like this. And eventually, whenever I want to fire, I will just left click, right? And if the left click hits, I know my tracking was doing pretty well. If the left click whiffs, that's not too good, right? And this will just warm us up, right? You can see I'll go in the air with jet knives as well. Tracking is used everywhere, man. Tracking is so underrated. Especially like if you do play jet, tracking I think is very good for jet knives. It makes it so much easier at any angle, right? Because you can dash updraft with the knives out and you don't even have to hold the glide key, which means you're harder to hit. Right? You can just, if you can track properly, you can just fall down and shoot the guy in the face. So practicing this tracking is really good. It's also great for clearing angles. So when you don't know where an enemy is, you're going to have to kind of trace around the angle here, as you can see. So tracking is still very, very important. Even though this game is one shot, one kill kind of game, I still think it's going to be quite important to keep it up. And especially a lot of the other players aren't doing this. So if you can get your tracking down, you're flying, man. You're absolutely flying. And the last one we're going to talk about, right? So that is our PRACT done, right? If you're an opper, I'm going to talk about PRACTO, okay? So all you do then, if you want to practice this op, now opping, I know it's not the most difficult thing in the world sometimes, but I used to do this all the time when Valorant was newer. I used to practice my op, and what I would do is I would place my crosshair away from the enemy, and I would flick in every single direction towards the guy, right? So I would do eliminate 100, and I would do like 20 flicks to the left, 20 flicks to the right, 10 flicks up, 10 flicks down, and then I would do diagonal flicks. And I would change the distance of my crosshair, like I would vary it, right? So sometimes I'd do here, sometimes I would do really close. And that's what I would do. I would kill all these bots just in different kind of flicks, right? That is going to make it just way easier. You're going to feel way more flexible with your op. It's going to be a lot easier to play aggressively. I would practice my jump peaks as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all you do with the op. So op section, very short, very sweet and to the point. And now we're going to jump into Deathmatch. So we're going to do about 1 or 2 DMs, right? It doesn't matter if you play TDM or DM. If you're playing TDM, just make sure you go for all the aim kind of weapons, the weapons you want to practice. So I like to go Ghost, Sheriff, Guardian, Vandal. Sometimes, if you are a Bulldog gamer, if you actually use the thing in Ranked, you're going to swap to the Bulldog instead, alright? And you're just going to go around and you're just going to try and strictly aim. I like to play Jet because I play Jet in Ranked, and Jet knives are fun to practice in TDM. And all we're going to do is just go for our headshots, right? As much as we can, we're just going to run around, have a good time. For DM, it's going to be... DM is better for practicing, like, pre-aim on all maps. And TDM is going to be good because you're going to get multiple fights, right? You're going to get more realistic things where enemies are trying to trade you. As you can see there, the Phoenix swung as well, whereas DM, you get shot in the back a lot, right? It's really frustrating, it's really annoying. So swap up between them though, because they're both useful, in my opinion. But for my warm-up, I'll play 1 or 2 TDMs, or maybe a DM. And then for practice, I will play as many as I can handle, to be honest. Eventually, you will get sick of it.
Enemy kill.
So we're just going for these headshots only, really. Yes, your ISO will vulnerable you. Like he's not your teammate, but it's all good. And as a Spectre. And there will be a lot of annoying things in TDM too, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not just a TDM lover, right? I don't think the game mode's perfect. You know, there will be people just running around with Spectres, they're gonna be running around with Stingers, and they're gonna just spam util. Don't be spamming util the whole time. That's not what we're here for, right? We just want to go around, go for our headshots. Yeah, as you can see, that's pretty much going to be it, right? We're going to do 1 or 2 TDMs for our warm-up, and we're going to do as many as we can actually handle going for our practice, right? Well, that's 5, 7, depends how many you really want to do, right? But that's going to be pretty much it. As you can see, we didn't win the TDM, but it doesn't really matter, right? And that's going to be the video. So in summary, we have the PRACT method inside of the practice range here. Let me know in the comments if you're going to try this or if you want to try this, because I've been using it and it seems pretty solid to me. So let me know your opinions on this. If you would change anything at all, let me know in the comments. And don't forget, if you are an opper, use the PRACT method with the op at the end. Same thing, just add the op flicks in at the end. And the TDMs or DMs, up to you again. Whichever you prefer, just play them, to be honest, because it doesn't really matter which one you're playing. It just matters that you're doing something, to be honest with you. I personally prefer TDM most of the time, but that's just me. But yeah, that's going to be the video. So, like, comment, all that shit. Join the Discord, follow me on Twitch, and yeah, I'll see you later.